Good morning, beloveds. Sorry, I looked down and realized that it was 9 o'clock. So I had to get my act together and get in here. It is September 26th. It is Sunday, which means I let myself sleep in, so I'm not really awake yet. But I gotta wake up because I'm doing the Sunday service. Yay. Okay. That also means I haven't been outside yet, so I don't know what kind of day it is, but yesterday was very pretty. I expect today is going to be very pretty, and then we are going to have, I want you to see the air quotes, a cold front tomorrow. There's a storm supposed to be coming through that's going to possibly drop our lows into the 50s. I'm kind of excited about it and kind of not. I mean, trust me, I'm thrilled to have the highs in the 80s and the lows in the 60s. I don't know about the 50s. I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet. But you know Texas weather. Wait 15 minutes and it'll change. So, okay. So we are getting close to finishing up the month of expectancy. I have not looked to see what next month is. I do see that the book's getting, wow, we've done a lot. I know I started towards the end of March, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do it until March, or until April, so that I will have done the full year, because, well, you know, once project started, you might as well finish it, right? And then that way I'll have the entire year to put on YouTube. And then you'll be able to see, wow, she started this. And then hopefully she got better. Actually, I did have somebody tell me that they went back and watched my first one. And then they'd watched a more recent one and said, you've really improved. And I'm like, I've learned a lot. This has been very good for me. I hope that it has been as good for you as it has been for me. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the Science of Mind textbook, because you can read the Science of Mind textbook in a year, and somewhere I have the paperwork. It may actually be in my textbook. I don't know if it'll be as engaging as these writings, because these writings were collected, but we'll see. Maybe. All right, let's get on with the 27th, right? The life within me is God. And our Bible quote is, then shall thy light break forth. And that is Isaiah 58:8. Whatever is true of God is true of our life, since our life and the life of God are not two, but one. The enlightened have ever proclaimed this unity of good, this oneness of human beings with God. For this reason, many have spoken of this life within us as both personal and impersonal. Impersonal from the standpoint that it is universal. Personal from the standpoint that this universal life principle is personified in us. This life within us, being God, did not begin, and it cannot end. Hence, we are immortal and eternal. We can never be less, but must forever be more ourselves as this life within us unfolds through our experience. Through our gathering of knowledge, our accumulating of wisdom. Evolution is the drawing out of the God principle already latent within us. It is this God principle within us to which Jesus referred when he said, before Abraham was, I am. I believe that the Spirit with me, which is God, makes perfect and peaceful the way before me. In this faith and knowledge, I discover a great peace of mind, a deep sense of belonging, a complete realization that God is right where I am. I put my whole trust in God and feel an intimate relationship with the presence and power that controls everything. Okay, so this is one of those where I'm going to go away and think about it probably all day. And I see that light is a little... Let me see if I can... Nope. Oh, okay, that worked. I turned it more towards the window and it worked. And if you hear that knocking sound, you may not. That is the cat in the cat jungle gym being the cat. And I'll just go ahead and tell you it's Rita. Which is why it's so noisy, because she's the biggest cat in the house right now. Okay, so the life within me is God. That is what Ernest has been teaching us all year. The life within you, the animating spirit, the actor within you. Those are just different ways of saying that the soul within you is God. It's one of those weird things where if you think about it, you realize you don't own your soul. Your soul belongs to God because your soul is God. But your soul is also you. It is that eternal part of you that carries you, your experiences, the things that you've done, the things that you've learned, forward into other expressions of life. It is how God expresses through you. And it's all mind-blowing. And I freely admit that it is mind-blowing when you stop and think, okay, I have a soul. I am a soul animating a material body. And that soul has one source. We all have the same soul, we just express it differently. And that our soul is part of a greater whole, and the whole is greater than all of its parts. That's why I like to call us divine splinters, or divine sparks. Splinters, because we are splinters of something so much bigger than we are. And that word splinter, for me, expresses the size of what I'm a part of. It's inexplicable. There's no way to explain it, which is what inexplicable means, right? Whatever is true of God is true of our life, since our life and the life of God are not two but one. So that's where you want to stop and think, well, what's true about God? And that's where you want to sort the wheat from the chaff, because a whole lot of people have a whole lot of ideas about what is true about God. And what Ernest will tell you about God is that it's good. It is life. It is love. It is gratitude. That is what God is. So if you hear any descriptions of God that are not that, then that is a human projection onto God, not what God is. We, as limited mortal beings, we're immortal beings in a limited space, a limited mortal space, cannot grasp what God is. So we try. And sometimes we don't do it so well. So whatever is true about God is true of our life. So think about that. What is your idea of God? And maybe you want to change what your idea of God is. Like, separate the wheat from the chaff, so that, because what's true about God is true about you. And so if you are putting negative projections on God, then you are putting negative projections on yourself. The enlightened have ever proclaimed this unity of good, this oneness of human beings with God. We are not God, but we are made of God's stuff. And it's that fine line of, let's not walk ego and think we're God, but let's walk the spiritual path and realize that God is part of what we are. Or no, we are part of what God is. I'll get it. Like I said, this is one of the ones that makes me want to go away and think about it. For this reason, many have spoken of this life within us as both personal and impersonal. Impersonal from the standpoint that it is universal, it is everywhere, and that God is part. There is nowhere God is not. That means that every being you meet, that's God in expression. But it's also personal from the standpoint that this universal life is personified as us. So we are making God personal to ourselves by being us. And the best gift that you can give to God is to be fully yourself. Not who people have told you you are, not who society has told you, culture has told you, politics have told you, not any of that, but who you are. What that burning desire within you to be, that's the gift that you give to God by being that. This life within us, being God, did not begin, nor can it end. Basic thermodynamics. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It always is. It changes forms. So therefore, your form has been created and your form will be destroyed. But you, as the energy within that form, will go on forever. There is no time in God. Hence, we are immortal and eternal. We can never be less, but must forever be more ourselves as this life within us unfolds through our experience. So there's what I said. We can never be less because we are children of the Spirit. The Spirit is us. So we can never be less than that. We can never be less than the awesomeness that God is, that love that God is. We can never be less than that. Now we can act like it, but we can never be less than that. But we must forevermore be more ourselves. So that's the gift that we give, to be more of ourselves. It's both terrifying and amazing to realize that you were created with a purpose. And everybody's like, well, what's my purpose? Well, your purpose is to be you. Whatever that is, your purpose is to be more fully you. Because when you are more fully you, that's the gift that you bring, and that's the gift that you give. When you are fully you, then you give permission around you to people to be more fully themselves. Okay, so, but must forever be more ourselves in this life within us, as this life within us unfolds through our experience, through our gathering of knowledge, and our accumulating of wisdom. So what do we bring to the table? It's like, what gifts are we giving God? God is having experiences through us. God is gathering knowledge and accumulating wisdom. Well, God already has all of the knowledge and all of the wisdom, right? Yes, but God gets to experience it in new ways through us. Because there's always a new way to look at things. And that is what we bring to the table as ourselves. Sometimes we look at things and it's okay. And then sometimes we look at things and go, wow. And that's what we get to bring to God. That's the gift that we get to bring. We get to bring that wow. We get to bring that experience. We get to bring that joy of learning. Because I think it was, I forget which class it was, It may have been in the Hindu class where they talked about when we come into this limited mortal experience, the eternal part of us goes to sleep. The part of us that knows absolutely everything, the part of us that truly is, that impersonal part of us, goes to sleep to allow us to wake up, to allow us to have the joy of experience and learning and accumulating wisdom and knowledge and all of that. So that part of us is always there, but it goes to sleep to allow us to enjoy the experience. It's just an interesting idea to think about. And that is the benefit of learning other religions, is you learn neat things like that. Okay, so there's an eternal part of me and back of me that's there, but it's asleep, and it's asleep so that I have the joy of going through these experiences for the first time, every time. Evolution is the drawing out of the God principle already latent within us. Like I said, the eternal part of us that is asleep, that we get the joy of waking up. He just says it better, right? Evolution is the drawing out of the God principle already latent within us. It is this God principle within us to which Jesus referred when he said, "Before Abraham was, I am." I believe that the Spirit within me, which is God, makes perfect and peaceful the way before me. If we are working on awakening the God principle within ourselves, which, or another way to say it is, if we are not necessarily, I had it and then it went away. If we are focused on the God principle within us, that we know is there. So we know that principle is within us. Okay. So the God principle, that eternal part of us is within it. And we are striving to that. That is peace, and that is perfect. Remember, perfect means whole, not flawless. So don't beat yourself up about that. Then the closer we come to that God principle, then the more peaceful we are going to be, the more whole we are going to be. And we are going to draw people into our peace rather than allowing them to pull us into their storm. You've got that person in your life, think about it, that remains calm no matter what's happening. And that's a person that 99% of the time you want to be around. I mean, there are times when you are just completely off the hook and you don't want to be near that peaceful person because you know that peaceful person is going to calm you down. And then you go there anyway because you're tired of the drama. That's what the God principle is. That God principle is that peace in the storm, that calm, the eye of the, we live in hurricane country. Let's use that, the eye of the hurricane. And that's where we want to be. When all of this chaos is around us, we want to be in that eye. But then we're going to, as the more we're attracted to that eye, the more likely we are to become the eye of the hurricane. And once we become the eye of the hurricane, we can start pulling people into that calm. And then eventually the hurricane is going to fall apart around us. Because we will pull enough people into that eye and they will become their own eyes. And the hurricanes will just go away. In this faith and knowledge, I discover a great peace of mind, a deep sense of belonging, a complete realization that God is right where I am. Okay, the knowledge that God is right here, right now, or right here, right now, or right here, right now, that is the definition of peace. I don't have to look for God because God is right here, right now. I don't have to go searching on the highest mountain. I don't have to go diving in the deep sea. I don't have to shoot myself into outer space because God is right here, right now. So if I need answers, where do I go? I turn within. If you need answers, where do you go? You turn within. There is nowhere that you are that God is not. So God is always, quite literally, at your beck and call. But the question becomes, are you willing to get quiet and listen? Because there's always, if you were the eye of the hurricane, there's always this chaos wind around you, the noise of the world. So you can't hear God over that noise. So you extend your era of peace and you listen. I listen. I don't always listen. Sometimes I try it my own way first and then I go, oh, maybe I should go back and listen. So, but that deep sense of belonging is that knowing that God is there, no matter what. There is nothing that I can do that will drive God away because I am made up of God. And that is peace. Knowing that there's nothing I can do. Nothing. But it's also knowing that there's nothing I have to do to get God to come here. There is no work. There is no work. God is here. The only thing I have to do is listen. I put my whole trust in God and feel an intimate relationship with the presence and power that controls everything. I put my whole trust in God. And there are times that we do that. There are times when we are at the end of our rope and we're like, I've got nothing left. I just have to trust. Well, why wait until you get to the end of the rope? Why not put your whole trust in God at the beginning of the rope? And then you're not hanging off the end with the last of your strength. Because then you get to realize that the strength that you're using isn't yours. It's God's, and it is inexhaustible. And if you trust God at the beginning of the rope, then you're not exhausted at the end. Because you have realized that you are using an inexhaustible source. All right. That's the contemplative me today. So what is our mission today? That's a good question. Okay, well here. It's a simple one. And maybe the most difficult one ever. Our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to believe that the Spirit is within us. And that's it. Because if you can do that, you can do anything. All right. Well, I am going to move on into the process of my day, but I am going to encourage you, as I do every day, to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. I like to encourage you to do something that engages your mind and your body. The weather is cooling off, so now is a good time to open your windows. I had them open all day yesterday. It was fantastic. Although at the height of the day, I did have just a crack. To get that fresh air in. Science says fresh air can help bring a fresh perspective. So if you're stuck, go for a walk. Because when you go for a walk, that engages your mind and your body, gets you working on something else, and then the inspiration that you're looking for will come. Some of the best work I do when I'm looking for inspiration is when I go for a walk. I just make sure I take my phone with me so that I can put it in my notes. And then I stole it from Ernest a couple of months ago, but I love it. I didn't steal it. I'm giving him credit. Open the windows of your soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you live in heaven now. You are the child of God. You are the beloved child of God in whom Spirit is well pleased. At the center of your being is God. You are made of God's stuff. So don't wait to the end of your rope. Start at the beginning. Trust. And we'll get there. We'll get there. I am confident in that. Because I am confident in each of us recognizing our God centers. Recognizing that we are divine sparks. And that we will all let our light shine. And as our light shines in us, it sparks the light in others because it's there. We just get to give the gift of seeing it in each other. So, yes. All right. So, Facebook Live, 11 a.m. We will have a service. And I'm going to do it. I'm subbing in for Jesse because he taught a class over the weekend, so we want to rest his voice. And I'm sure he'll tell us all about it next Sunday, so it'll be good. And I'm tackling the book of Esther, which is a fantastic book. So, and I have some interesting things to say about it, I'm sure. All right. Reverend David will be on with you at around 5 p.m. today, and I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day, beloveds.